Now, it gives me great pleasure to announce and introduce our two fabulous champions. These two men have dedicated their lives to delivering changes for the world on climate change. And they're now going to talk to us for a few minutes to introduce the whole concept of the Race to Zero Day today and to share a little bit more insight into their views on the world of water itself. So we have Gonzalo Muñoz, who was he's the climate champion from Chile. We have Nigel Topping, the UK's climate champion. So over to you, please.
Well, thank you, Kate. Given that you're going to be ruthless, I better get straight on with it. Well, first of all, welcome everybody to day 4 of the Race to Zero Dialogues. This is day 4 of 9, and today we're focusing on water, but also on oceans and coastal zones. I'd just like to reiterate Kate's thanks to all the 4 and 5 letter acronyms, so CWE, IUCN, CEO, Water Mandate, AGWA, CDP, and the Global Compact. And we know there's many other amazing partners working really hard to convene this important set of dialogues. I can tell you that Steve, who's been working with everybody in the background, just shared on WhatsApp, the water guys are amazing. So, that's a community, really impressive job. Thank you. I think both Gonzalo and I are really keen to elevate the role of water in this conversation and plan of action for systems transformation. In many ways, water is the key systemic link to a global response to climate change, both in terms of mitigation, and Kate's been teaching me just how many emissions are associated with the water system, but I think even more importantly in terms of resilience, which is really about how do we take people from fragile, vulnerable lives to resilient lives and livelihoods, which is why later this year we're going to be launching a sister campaign on resilience, so water will really play a key part. I've been a big advocate of elevating the role of water for some time. I joined CDP in 2007, and one of the first things I did was work to put together and launch the I think we called it the Water Disclosure Project then, but we ended up calling it CDP Water. But so it's wonderful to have Kate, who's been leading that work at CDP for a long time now, helping lead the theme within the Champions team. So thank you for taking on 2 full-time jobs, Kate. I don't know how you do it. And today, I keep saying the race part of Race to Zero Dialogues is really important. This is really urgent, but the dialogue part is also crucial. That means bringing together people with different points of view from different parts of the system, different parts of the world, and listening to each other respectfully so that we learn. Our objective is to keep ratcheting up our collective ambition. So by the time we get to Glasgow, we can be confident that we're on track to an entirely sustainable global water sector with ambitious policies and large investments. Some of you will have seen the entire UK water system committing to net zero 2030, all 11 companies. It's that kind of really bold action we need. It's not, the time for incrementalism really is over. So we really need that clear long-term goal, and then the very clear commitments to short, medium-term actions in the next 5 years. That's why this idea of pathways, which we're publishing for each one of the Marrakesh Partnership themes, is so crucial. With that, let me hand over to my good friend and crazy early morning riser, Gonzalo Muñoz, in the middle of the night in Chile. Gonzalo.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Kate, and the amazing water community. And thanks and good morning. It's definitely great to be framing the future of the water sector. As you said, Nigel, this is absolutely critical. I mean, life does not exist without water. And during this year, we have seen even more how much of it is not only important to sustain life, to allow us to flatten a curve like the COVID one, but also how much of the water crisis is absolutely, unfortunately, embedded into inequalities, and therefore there are so many things that we need to solve. And one of it being, of course, all of the aspects related to climate change. We of course expect that all of the relationships or between water and energy means that all of the water management system should be embedded into emission-free energy, and hopefully not only working towards net zero, but net positive in terms of climate. We know that there is a very concrete challenge that requires us to conserve all of our fresh water sources over the next decades, so we can have half of the fresh water ecosystem and inland water not only protected but healthy and productive by 2050. And meaning it's not only for human life or human productivity, it's also for the other millions of species that live with us in this amazing planet called Earth, right? And we need to do that in a way that also, as Kate has taught you, and we have been learning, water systems increase their capacity on sequester carbon and at the same time protect biodiversity. There's a huge potential that sometimes we diminish, and simply sometimes we don't know, that is related to wetlands and peatlands and mangroves that are absolutely a crucial part of any kind of effort that we need to do around tackling climate change. And that valuable resources is something that we have to position in the very top of the pile of the work that we need to do worldwide. And also we have a very concrete challenge around water and sanitation services that need to be, of course, affordable and available for all, but also need to help us, again, as I said, to tackle all of the aspects around equity and fairness, as they are absolutely connected to the climate crisis. So back to you, my friend.
Yeah, Gonzalo, I hope that's something we'll really explore today, is the fact that water, equity, fairness, vulnerability, resilience are systemically all intertwined, and we really need to make sure we don't just have a set of Green New Deals or Build Back Better plans in the global north, but we need a blue and green recovery, and it needs to be global. You know, we know that the water industry can provide vast numbers of green or blue jobs in the coming decades. We know that water is the first line of defense for COVID. It's the ultimate form of PPE, is fresh water to wash your hands. But we also know that there's huge opportunity to improve very inefficient agricultural practices. And yesterday on one of the youth panels, there was we had a young engineer from South Africa just reminding us how much in that part of the world water really is making the lives of smallholder farmers much more fragile. So there's a lot of work to be done there. I think also really importantly, I have a sense that there's growing momentum from governments. And again, I know that the EU's passed new legislation to create a 6-fold increase in the amount of water reuse in agriculture. That's a significant multiple. We're all hopeful that a new Biden administration will reverse rollback of water protections introduced by Trump. And we know that China's got water security second only to energy and carbon in their sketch for the 5-year plan coming out, I think, next April. So I think we all need to work really hard next year, of course, as well as the climate COP and the biodiversity COP. We have a UK presidency of G7 and a Italy presidency of G20, and with the US coming back into the multilateral system, we need to make sure that that sort of global blue-green recovery is financed, both public finance, but also mobilizing the vast amounts of private finance that will be needed. So I think we need, part of our job is working with this fantastic community to elevate the importance of water and to make sure it's not a standalone, but it's part of that nexus of health, jobs, climate, and that water is one of the enabling factors for all of those.
Yep, and as you said, it's not only about mitigation; it's also about resilience. We're seeing how many of the governments are taking the lead, but there's also a lot of momentum being built around the non-party stakeholders. They are moving into the right direction. They are understanding that there's no way we can not only produce, there's no way we can live without water, but also understanding that it's so precious that we have to be extremely efficient. So it's becoming more and more a crucial part of any kind of global discussion in any type of topic that we're talking about, the race to zero emissions. we're seeing companies, great growth in the last couple of years in number of global companies and cities that are reporting on water through organizations like CDP. When it comes to the work of the cities, from Salt Lake City to Dar es Salaam to Berlin, all adopting very innovative solutions to water reuse, recycling, and sustainable water management. We're seeing like it's unacceptable that we continue throwing the sewage to the oceans or to the rivers or to the lakes. I mean, this is something that we have to change dramatically and very, very fast. And also, of course, this year, coronavirus has taught us so much about how to address these challenges in a way, in a collective way. It's like, of course, it's related to many of the topics that we work around. Radical and inclusive collaboration is absolutely essential. But wait, in this case, 145 states around the world share river basins so they need to work together. There's no way they're going to solve it without working together, and that means very strong diplomatic collaboration. So this is why we're absolutely excited about opening today's theme of water as part of this incredible series of events, but as we said, as one that enables life, enables everything that we're capable and that we have to do around not only mitigation, but also resilience. So, Kate, thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Nigel, and thank you, Gonzalo. It gives me goosebumps to hear some of these words coming out of your mouth. I'm so pleased that we've got such two passionate champions of our cause here. I'm really confident that we're going to be able to shift the dial in the year ahead, and I look forward to working with you both on that. So thank you.